Good evening, good people. Welcome to our No Kings 2.0 Kickstart call. We cannot thank you enough for not regarding it robbery to be here with us tonight. We're going to let folks get on in here. We know that many of you have been waiting for 30 minutes to see the start of this call, so you didn't miss anything. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Get in here. Make sure that you take this opportunity to tell your friends, your family, your neighbors, all your peeps that you are on the mass call tonight. This is your opportunity to take a screenshot of the screen, throw it up on socials, hit up the group chats, send emails to the listserv, tell your people to come on and get in here. I am your host for this evening. My name is Ashley Woodard Henderson. I'm so honored to be one in the number of the No Kings movement. Y'all, I know that you're watching on socials. So if you're watching on YouTube, what's up? We see you. If you are watching on Indivisible or Working Families Party socials or Move On socials, or you're going to watch on Midas Touch or Free Speech TV later, or you're watching the recording again, we are so glad that you are here. Make sure you tell a friend and have them come on and join us. Y'all, I am already seeing your comments on some of the socials and in the live streams. We're going to be shouting you all out tonight. And as we get updated numbers, we'll try to shout some of that out too. Y'all, I'm so glad that you're here. If you are watching on YouTube, the chat's turned off, but you can chat with us on Blue Sky and all the other the socials using hashtag No Kings Kickoff. Again, the hashtag that we're using to talk to each other is hashtag No Kings Kickoff. Y'all know what to do. Make sure you tag us and use the hashtag so that we can make sure that we are lifting up what you're saying as you opt into our online conversation. Y'all, as we get into this, I just want to get us grounded a little bit. So much has happened to our people in our neighborhoods, to our states and countries in the since the last time we saw each other. And we know that there have been so many attempts by this administration and the minions that support them to overwhelm us, to steal, kill, and destroy, to shock us, to distract us, to harm so many and destroy so much that it can be really hard to know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and where to do it as well. It's nearly impossible to show up to all the urgent calls. It feels like there's a new one every day. And to keep track of all the calls to action, there's certainly a new one of those every day. Or to know all the things that are happening locally, across our states, across our regions, nationally, and across the globe. So let's just be honest about how we're arriving. I know y'all are in the chat introducing yourselves. You're saying where you're from. You're shouting out the orgs that you work with. But let's also talk about how we're arriving emotionally. Maybe you're here tonight because you're scared. There's plenty to be scared about. Maybe you're skeptical about our ability to win in these conditions, and you're looking for an infusion of some grounded truth from some leaders you can trust and direction to change your mind. You're looking to be organized tonight. Maybe you just don't want to be alone with whatever you're feeling, and you're here to connect with a broad front of people across differences in ideology and identity who are wanting to be on the right side of history in this time, bending the moral arc of the universe toward justice. Maybe you're here because you're disgusted. You're concerned about ICE agents disappearing your neighbors or your loved ones, or National Guard deployments that are over policing your streets. Maybe you're here because you're pissed off about the attacks on free speech or attacks on your organizations and folks that you support. Whatever brought you, again, I just want to remind you that we're grateful that you're here tonight. May not agree on every single thing or even most things, but I still believe that we can come together across our differences to stop these harms through multi issue, multi tactical strategic actions. And that's what we're about tonight. Friends, speaking of action, there's so many paths for action right now. Y'all remember from 1 Million Rising, we've talked about non cooperation. We've talked about non-compliance. We've talked about direct actions. We've talked about symbolic interventions and building alternatives. We have done the gambit of talking about the tactical opportunities that we have today. And we're going to hear tonight from folks who are working in deportation defense. You're going to hear from the House of Labor tonight. You're going to hear from folks in faith communities. We're in the fight for our trans siblings and so much more. We're talking about all of this tonight. And about a really important intervention that we're going to try to do collectively on October 18th, 1 month from tonight. We're going to come together across all these communities to say with deep conviction from the deepest part of who we are that the people still have all the power. The video that's playing on the screen with me is a roundup of all 50 states from the first No Kings this past June, when over 5 million of us in over 2,100 cities and towns, hollers and hoods, urban, suburban, and rural communities showed up in peaceful protest to reject authoritarianism and fascism, autocracy, and oligarchy and showcase our dignity, demand and build democracy together, and make more real equal opportunity for every single one of us. I think this is important, y'all, because I want to remind you that we've done it scared already. And in a time where they are escalating their forces and attacks, we can do it again, and we can be bigger and badder than the sum of our parts. In October, we're going to do it again. We're going to work to organize so that there are even more of us this time. You know that we go from 5 million to more than that because you invite your people. We know that regimes cannot withstand a sustained mass resistance movement, and that's certainly what we're building. This fall, we have a chance for that peace-loving movement to show its full size and full power. If you're in it to win it with me, I need you to tell me in the chat, I'm in it to win it with you, that you are a member of this No Kings movement. If you're with me, I need you to let me know in the chat. I see you, Raquel, saying, we got this. It's true. Victory is ours. We just have to do the work to make it so. So as you're reaffirming your commitment in the chat, I just want to remind you what you're going to hear tonight. I'm sure you all have seen the headshot graphic that went around, but I am so hyped about the leaders that you're going to hear from tonight. We're going to start in a minute with my brother, Ezra Levin from Indivisible, who will share a little bit about what happened last time and what we're aiming to do next. Then you're going to hear from my sister, one of my best friends on the planet, and a leader I would trust with my life, Greisa Martinez Rosas from United We Dream Action, reporting in from the front lines of the fight for our undocumented and immigrant communities. You're going to hear from the legendary Bishop William J. Barber II, who's going to ground us in the action that we're all called to in this moment. You're going to hear from Keya Chatterjee calling in from Free DC. Shout out to Free DC and the movement to build power against occupation in our cities. Representing the House of Labor and with special shout out to the teachers on the front lines, Randi Weingarten is going to join us tonight from the American Federation of Teachers. And I'm really glad to have Joel Payne from Move On, who's going to walk us through some of the basic nuts and bolts for event hosts and attendees. So if you're wondering how to do this, we're going to give that to you tonight. I am incredibly thrilled to have Chase Strangio from the ACLU to share about the fight for our trans siblings inside and outside the courts. And to close us out, we have the baddest of our culture bearers, our artists, our movement practitioners, a special guest who just joined the lineup this evening because the fight for freedom of speech in our media and cultural spaces is more urgent now than it's ever been before. Stick around till the end to see who's with us. I think y'all already know. If you know, I want you to put his name in the chat, but we're gonna keep teasing it for a little bit for the folks who do not know yet who I am discussing. Folks, here's the thing. The only way we're going to get to more than 5 million people is through you inviting people. So as you're listening tonight, I want to again remind you that you can tell people that you're here. You can invite them to join us. You can take a pic. You can put it on your socials. You can send the event and you can tell them to save the date. You can be discussing what our people are saying on this call and spread the good word about what No Kings is up to. Y'all know it's bigger than a march. So let's make that so. I think we're ready to get into it with our first speaker. Indivisible members, where y'all at? I need to hear some noise across socials because we're headed to you first. Ezra Levin, again, is the co-founder and co-executive director of Indivisible. I'm going to pass it to him to talk a little bit more about what happened the first time around and why we're doing it again. Ezra, I'll kick it to you.
Asher, I am fired up. Oh my gosh, this lineup, can I be honest? I'm glad that I don't have to follow anybody after me because they're all better than me. So I'm going to go as quickly as possible so everybody can hear the brilliance and get inspired by what's to come. I'm going to cover a little history, like you said. Just from my own perspective, look, Indivisible got started a little over 8 years ago with this very simple idea. Politics is too important to be left to the politicians. What we saw coming for us was this Trumpism force. And we also saw a political establishment that was unable or unwilling to stand up and say no. We thought that we could stand together, indivisible, and treat an attack on one like an attack on all. And we knew there were people around the country who were willing to say no with us. And we knew that we could say no with the most powerful force in American democracy that is peaceful, broad based, strategic, people led organizing. I am not the leader of the indivisible movement. There are thousands of leaders of the indivisible movement who have they have founded, they have led, they have persevered, and every one of these groups was established by a few people who looked around at the wreckage and they said, I'm not going to accept that. They refused to accept it. They raised their hands and they started to get to work where they were. Now, when it comes to No Kings, you know one of the great things about it? No Kings is not an indivisible project. It is way bigger than indivisible. And you're going to hear from a lot of folks who made No Kings what it was, because it was made up not of any one organization or any national coalition, even. It was made up of millions of people who put it together. When we all heard that Trump had these ridiculous military birthday plans for himself, he was going to throw himself this big parade, look like the big man. We joined with hundreds of organizations and millions of people to pull off No King's Day in June. 2,169 communities, every single state, every single congressional district, 27 countries. That's what we did in June, the single largest peaceful protest in years. And Trump, what did he look like? He looked like the enfeebled, lame duck has been that he is. And we demonstrated loudly for everybody to hear we don't do kings in America. That's not something we do here. Now, Trump is ramping up his attacks right now. We all see it. We're going to talk about it. He is lying. He is gaslighting. He is steamrolling the public. He is squashing dissent. Now, I understand how that can be scary. It is scary, but these are not the moves of a strong, confident leader, secure in his position of power. Strong leaders don't bring the full might and power of the United States of America to fire comedians, to terrorize little girls. These are the moves of a leader who fears his people. Specifically, he fears what we intend to produce, which is the largest peaceful protest in defense of our rights, our communities, our democracy in modern American history. And it's that kind of power that makes authoritarians cower. This is not to say this moment is without risks. Look, if there isn't some part of you watching this, if there isn't some part of you existing in this moment that has some amount of fear right now, I gotta say, to be honest, I don't think you're paying close enough attention. This movement is not fearless. I wouldn't call us fearless. What I would say is this is a brave movement. This is a movement of normal, everyday Americans who are willing to stand up and call out this regime for what it is doing, brutalizing communities with a secret police force, invading and occupying American cities, systematically attacking black political power, undermining schools, endangering our health, burning relationships all across the globe, and screwing over 90% of us in order to give tax cuts to billionaires and donors. All the while, you're breaking laws, they're trashing the Constitution. But look, this movement isn't about Donald Trump. Hell, it's not even about his regime. This movement is about us. It's about all of us and what we do in this moment. This is a movement that understands cowardice is contagious. When Disney and ABC capitulate, 1,000 other institutions are looking at them and saying, maybe I'll take the cowardly way out too. That cowardice, it endangers all of us, but it is not inevitable. This is a movement that also knows that courage is contagious. We're a movement that understands the best way to protect the right to peaceful protest and the rest of our rights is to make our peaceful protest enormous, undeniable, unavoidable, and overwhelming. We understand that our only path out of this is by welcoming new people who have never protested before. And I'll be honest, who we probably don't agree with on everything. And that's not only okay, that's the goal, y'all. Because we do agree on something, that we don't do kings in America. And we do agree on another thing, that the path forward depends on us exercising our rights powerfully, peacefully, which means we recruit, we organize, we strategize, we exercise our rights out in the open. Because we know that when we do that together, Others will do that too. And when they do that, we win. On June 14th, all across the globe, look, we carried off this historic No Kings protest. On October 18th, it's not just a protest, y'all. We are ushering in the No Kings era. We're doing it peacefully, powerfully, in numbers that are impossible to ignore. So let's go make history together. Ash, back to you.
I think we're ready to make a little history. I hear Kat in the chat saying she's here with us. We're going to go get it. And we're going after that 3.5% rule with everything we've got. So I see you. Thank you for being here. We've got indivisible members from literally all over the country. It's too many of y'all to name every city and town and state that you represent. But no, we see you keep up the chat. We're watching. I'll do a little bit of a special shout out to Indivisible Las Vegas because y'all are busy in the chat. Shout out to y'all. Thank you so much, Ezra, for being with us here tonight. Folks, I know you might be starting to wonder what are my concrete next steps? Like, very seriously, Ashley, tell me the ABCs of it all. To bring us some of that, I'm thrilled to be joined by Joel Payne from Vaughn. Joel, we'll toss it to you next.
Ash, thank you so much. Ash, you didn't tell me I was going to have to follow Ezra
I'm
there, who
sorry,
really
man.
lit this thing on fire. And I just want to say we're so grateful for what Indivisible does. Our folks at Move On, we really rely on partners like Indivisible who hold this movement together. And we're grateful for the leadership that Ezra and Leah and the entire Indivisible family provide for this movement. So just want to say that off the top. Um, you know, I'm so glad to be in this space representing Move On, and I'm so excited that we're doing this again. And Ezra talked a lot about what the June No Kings experience was, and we want to talk a little bit more about what to expect coming into October. Many of you here with us tonight, you were here before. Some of you already know the drill. That's fantastic. We're going to send you some refreshers. We're going to make sure you have all the information that you need to be reminded of how to sign up, how to get the support you need, how to keep your event safe and peaceful. But we also know many of you are new, and that's what we're so excited about, that we have so many new folks in this call, in this moment, joining us, like Ezra talked about, people who have been activated by the galling things that we're seeing every single day. And so we want to make sure we're providing you with the support that you need, whether it's hosting or in attending an event in your community or bringing other people with you to join with us peacefully for No Kings on October 18th. So I want to talk a little bit more about what you can do. A few things. You can sign up to host an event. If there isn't one near you already, sign up to host. You can do that yourself. You can also check the No Kings website, nokings.org, to figure out where those events are near you. It's very easy. There's a map that's populated with events all over the country. Recommend people regularly check on that, stay updated. But when you go to nokings.com, click on register an event. It'll take you through the entire process. We've tried to make it as easy and as straightforward as possible. When you do that, you'll also see the host toolkit on that site. We'll make sure we send it to you again after you register. And there's lots in the toolkit, everything from talking points to, again, safety information, to information that folks are going to need for things like how do I make a sign? How do I be supportive of others there with us that day? So lots of great information is going to be in that toolkit. How to talk about this on social media, how to make sure that your friends and your network can be aware of all the things that are going on. All those things you'll find in your toolkit. And once you sign up for that host toolkit, you'll get all of that information. And just as a reminder, and Ezra talked a little bit about this, we had over 2,000, I think actually over 2,100 events for the last No Kings. And as Ezra talked about, we got to be bigger and badder and more expansive this time. And so we're setting a high goal for ourselves to beat that, but we know that bonded together, we can do that. Locked arm in arm, we can do that with all of you. Now, I talked a little bit about if you wanted to sign up to host. Well, maybe you can't host, or maybe you already see there's an event in your area. Well, then sign up for that event and show up and recruit others. And when you reach out to the host, ask for how you can help. And we are working with all the hosts to make sure they come up with ways that people can help. And there's lots of things that you can do to help. So again, we want people to sign up to host events. If there's already an event that you can join in your area, that's fantastic. Sign up, show up, make sure you bring others along with you. A couple more notes before we hand this back over to Ash. Whether you're hosting or attending, the primary thing that every single one of us can do, and all of us need to prioritize this, and this is what we're doing with our members at Move On. We all need to be recruiting. Over those 2,000, 2,100 plus events we had last time, we calculated we had about 5 million people in the streets, and that's fantastic. But again, we want to do bigger and better than that this time. So we want to beat that number if we can on October 18th, and we're going to lean on all of you to do that. So a thing that we actually want to invite everybody to do right now, and I'm going to pick up my phone, and I'm going to encourage everybody else to do the same. I want you to pick up your phone, and I want you to invite, well, first, before you actually do this, write down or think about the names of 3 people who didn't go to a No Kings event last time, or 3 people who you think in your life might be interested in going to a No Kings event who couldn't go last time. Write those names down, make a plan to text them. If you can't do it right now, make a plan to text them later. But if you can do it right now, text them right now. Just like that. Take the next 30 seconds to do that. That's you could triple. You could help us hit our goal sooner, just by taking those steps, that we would really be grateful for if you could all do. So that's one thing we wanted to ask everybody to do. And a couple of other things just to note. We wanted to make sure that for host, you understand that we've got office hours that are be there to support your work. These will be available to you once you register for your event. So when you register for your event and you get those events on the maps, those office hours will be every Monday and every Tuesday, and that information will be in a regular flow to you. A couple of other things before I get out of here. We've got a host prep call coming up on Thursday, October 2nd, and you can sign up for that training and others at nokings.org/trainings. That's nokings.org/trainings. We'll cover a lot of ground on that final prep. We've got some special trainings on media, messaging, digital engagement to help you work on how to deal with local media, local press, and build excitement for the event. The first one of those is actually going to be Wednesday, September 24th, next week, and we'll run it again the week of the mobilization on Tuesday, October 14th. And again, you can sign up for all of these types of events and others at nokings.org/trainings. And a couple of final things before I hand it back to Ash. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We're so excited by the energy that's in this meetup right now. For everybody, we want to highlight those trainings and those resources so that not only can you be brave, not only can you be informed, but you can stay safe. Your safety, the safety of those who are your loved ones and your community is paramount to us. So we want to make sure that you sign up for those trainings and those resources so that you can do that. We've got wonderful partners at ACLU who are part of this coalition, who are offering Know Your Rights and protest safety trainings for all attendees. Lots of dates available. Again, nokings.org/training. And for our host and for our safety leads, we've got special trainings on safety and security presented with our partners at Movement Catalyst. And the first one of those is up next Thursday, September 25th, and we'll do another one on Thursday, October 9th. I know I gave a lot of dates. I gave a lot of information. Here's the thing. Go to nokings.org/trainings. You can get all of it. And with that, I want to thank you, express gratitude for Move On, and I want to hand it back over to Ash. Ash, back over to you.
Joel, we love you. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight and for making sure that, like, for those of us that are OGs, we can still get sharpened by going to these trainings. And if you're brand new and you really don't know what to do, what's your first step if you're hosting one of these events? How do you get the word out? How do you keep people safe, etc.? Thank you for making these trainings possible so that folks don't have to be out here figuring that out by themselves. We're so grateful. Again, I want to remind you, you can go to nokings.org/trainings. That's where you're going to get all that good information. It's also where you're going to go if you're trying to find a No Kings event near you. So I want to remind you, you can go to nokings.org. And then when you go there, you'll see no thrones, no crowns, no kings. On October 18th, millions of us are going to rise again to show the world America has no kings and the power belongs to the people. Then I want you to click Find Event. If you go to Find Event and you don't see one near you, I want you to click to register an event. Now, again, this might be your first time doing something like this. It's okay. I get it. It's scary. You might be like, me, I'm not the person that's been called to lead like that in this moment. That's scary and overwhelming. You just said millions of people. Ashley, I don't know how to handle all that. I want to remind you that again, there are trainings to give you everything you need to be able to make it happen. Every single thing that you need to make it happen. So please, if you don't see an event near you, step up into your leadership, be courageous, let that courageous intervention be contagious so that people in a neighborhood near you can actually get down with the No Kings movement. Thank y'all so much. Show some love to Joel. Before we go to our next speaker, I also just want to say again, if you are watching on the social media stream, shout out to the Indivisible team and others that are streaming this live, where you can put comments. I see y'all, and y'all are saying so many things about where you're calling in from, about the orgs that you rock with, about how moved you are by these speakers. Both Ezra and Joel got a lot of love in the comments. I also want to remind you that there might be folks that are trying to distract us from this good work. And I'm going to encourage you to not take the bait. Drown that mess out with love and messages of solidarity to the speakers and to each other. And remember, this is an opportunity to organize them too, right? Because this isn't about left or right. This is about whether or not you want a king in this country, right? So this is an opportunity to organize. I'm going to ask you to think like an organizer in your responses, and keeping on with what we actually are here to talk about tonight. Next, it is my like one of my life's greatest privileges to live and love and work in a time where this speaker is alive and leading us. I am thrilled to be joined by one of the most powerful voices in our movement, who has helped lead the work to support and defend undocumented and immigrant communities for years. Welcome my sister, my friend, my leader, Greisa Martinez Rosas of United We Dream Action. Greisa, I'll turn it over to you. Thanks, G.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We're gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Sisters, siblings, brothers, I did not come to you tonight without fear. I came with it, but not bowed by it. Not beyond struggle, but born of it. Because I have learned what so many ancestors knew, that courage is not the absence of fear. It's choosing to move forward despite it. And that kind of courage, it's the kind of courage that shakes up wannabe kings. It's the kind of courage that breaks chains. And it's the kind of courage that is not built alone. It's built in community, together, right here, right now. My name is Greisa Martinez Rosas. I'm the executive director of United We Dream Action. I'm the daughter of Elia Rosas and Luis Martinez. I grew up part of a mixed status family, a Southern Baptist preacher family. We grew up in Dallas, Texas. Poor in money, but rich in faith, my mom would say. Immigrants, we're resilient. We get the job done. We make it work. And to feed our family, my dad used to find broken pallets, like the ones you see at Costco that hold up all the stuff we buy. He would pick them up from factories that were thrown away. He'd fix them and sell them back with his own two hands. One day, my sisters and I were with him at work, music playing, helping our dad pile the pallets in his truck. And then a man came out. He was screaming. He called us thieves. He yelled slurs. He threatened ICE. He didn't care that we were little girls. He didn't care that our father was a man of dignity. To him, we were less than human. Years later, my dad was stopped in that same truck. No driver's license, deported. I was 17 years old. Last year, he died alone, away from our family on the other side of the border. Our family crossed the Rio Grande together. We loved together. We lived together, but races laws tore us apart. And I don't tell this story because it's rare. I tell it because it's real. I tell it because it's happening right now. But through the darkness, I've learned something. Sisters, brothers, siblings, I've learned that what they mean for pain, we turn into power. That isolation can become belonging and organizing. That silence can become a song. In moments like these, I turn to our teacher, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, and I'm reminded that I too have seen the mountaintop. I've seen it when Black, brown, indigenous, white, Asian, hands locked together in the streets. And we say, immigrants are here to stay. We defend our neighbors, free DC, no kings. I see it when young people rise, not to ask for permission, but to claim their future. Let me tell you about Ezra Ramirez. He's a high school student in Connecticut. He was detained while at work washing cars, set up for a speedy deportation just like my dad's. But his teachers, his classmates, and Connecticut Students for a Dream, they said no. Their classmates organized in school, the teachers wrote letters, the community spoke up, and Esdras was released. And now, Esdras is speaking up. He's using his voice, the one they tried to silence. Now, there will be nights when your voice shakes. There will be mornings when you wonder if it's even worth it. But only when it's dark enough can you see the stars. And I see stars looking at each and every one of you. I see the people who refuse to back down, the people who are not waiting for change, but becoming it. So go ahead. Let's feel it. Let's feel the fear. That's human. But then rise, march, speak, build, organize. And when you feel yourself growing weary, look beside you, like I get to do with these people on this call. You are not alone. We never were. We are the community that courage built. Some of you on this call might have never had an organizing community before or have been part of a mass mobilizing event like the one that we're preparing for in the No Kings rally on October 18th. And I'm here to tell you, you deserve to. You deserve to feel the embrace and affirmation that when you know you're not alone. You deserve to see your contributions as being in service of the nation that will be born from this darkness. This is not a time to buckle, because real victory in this moment isn't just surviving another fight, another day. It's about changing the conditions so that we never have to fight like this again. Because sisters, brothers, siblings, we will not stop. Not until every child can dream and become, until every family is whole and every soul knows what it means to be seen, to be safe, and to belong. The mountaintop is not far. And let us be clear today. We are not here to beg for justice. We are here to build it, to be it. We do not come with empty hands. We come with ancestors behind us. We come with a fire passed down from prophets and poets and grandmothers, abuelitas, abuelitos who marched, and children who dream. We come to say, this is sacred work. This is freedom work. This is our work. And to choose those who think that, to those who think that we might be tired, we say, we may be tired, but we are not finished. We are just getting started. So watch what we can do together October 18th and see you in the streets.
Greisa said, we are the community that courage built, y'all. We are the community that courage built. She also told me on a call a little while ago that if we haven't won yet, the story's not over. Because this right here, this suffering that our people are facing, these attacks, this fear mongering that's happening, this is not how our story ends, beloveds. I know it's not, because we're going to have more than 5 million people in the streets on October. And I called into courage because of Greisa Martinez Rosas. Y'all show some love in the comments for our sister G. We love you. We love you. We love you. We love the United We Dream family. Thank you so much for being here and leading us with such courage tonight. Y'all, before we move on to our next speaker, I want to share some news with you about one of the interventions that we're making this time around with the No Kings events. We're going to have millions of Know Your Rights cards at events, and event hosts have the ability to sign up to get shipments, right? We're not just making it your responsibility to figure out how to get them. You can sign up to get them through the No Kings website. We know our rights are under attack, just like Greisa covered, reminding ourselves and our communities that despite those attacks, we still have those rights. We still have them, and we're proud to exercise them. Reminding people of that is critical in this moment. But we're not just going to take these cards for ourselves, y'all. It's an organizing tool. We're going to take them for the people that we organize with, for the people that we care about, the rest of our communities. So don't just take one, take a stack. Print off even more from the website. Hand them out to your families. Flyer them at the churches and the synagogues and the mosques. Drop them off at the bar. See if you can leave them in the gas station. Use this as an opportunity to bring our people in the movement. Use it to start a conversation about how we're going to fight back and care for one another. The cards serve a couple of other functions. They're going to have the No Kings logo on them, right? We want to saturate our communities with this symbol because we know we want to create a sense of community as we spread our peaceful defiance. So every time you hand one to someone, it's like welcoming them in as a member of our movement. It's our membership card, and it's a visual reminder of what we're all saying together. There's also a QR code that's going to send people to a new resource that we're building on the No Kings website, building off the amazing work of so many of our partners' information. You're going to have information in languages that aren't English so that we can reach all of our people. There's going to be an opportunity to access toolkits for how to respond to various crackdowns from the administration. So if you hear ISIS stepping up their raids in your neighborhood, you're going to have something there. You hear there's a detention center opening up in the town next to you. We've got guidance for how you can push back against it. Planning to send the National Guard to your streets, we'll have resources compiled for you on how to get organized and make sure that that backfires. So stay tuned for more details on that soon and save some room in your wallets and your purses for a stack of cards in the near future. Next, from the front lines of the movement to fight occupation, I am honored to be joined by one of my fellow freedom trainers and one of the co-founders and co-executive directors of Free DC, Keya Chatterjee. Keya, we'll toss it to you next.
Thanks, Ash. I am calling in from occupied Washington, D.C., where they have really thrown everything at us. The last time there was a No Kings event, there was actually a military parade happening in D.C. And now we have National Guard from 8 states carrying long rifles through our streets, scaring our kids. Our kids have to walk past them, oftentimes on the way to school, on the way home from school. We have gangs of masked agents picking people up from the streets. We have juvenile detention facilities that are full because Congress is also attacking us. So they're throwing the military at us. They're throwing agents at us. They're throwing Congress at us, who has voted 4 times just in the last 2 days to take away DC rights. One time voting to treat our 14-year-olds as adults. So this is what they're throwing at us. And what I can tell you, and what I am here to tell you today, is that we're still here. Not only are we still here, but we are still doing all the things that you've heard everyone talk about today. We are not obeying in advance, right? We still have our First Amendment rights, so we are using them. We're going out in the streets all the time. If we can do it, then you can do it. We are doing it with this presence of military all around us. That's the first thing we tell people. Do not obey in advance. Use those rights. The second thing we tell people is prioritize joy. You heard Greisa singing? That's what brings us joy. But we're going to have some go-go music when we come out on October 18th in DC. We are going to prioritize joy because that is what is going to get us through this movement, is joy and community. Number 3, we're going to take up space. These are our communities. Your community is yours. It does not belong to this tyrant. It is yours. So we are going to take up space in our communities on October 18th. We're going to bring in crowds into the public space, and we're going to claim this space as our space, just like we're doing in DC. Number 4 thing we tell people is show solidarity. Right now in DC, they are attacking Black and brown men. They are attacking 14 to 17-year-olds. They are attacking our houseless population, and they are attacking our immigrant population. But let me tell you something. Tomorrow, it is going to be me, and then it is going to be you. Today it is DC, but tomorrow it will be another place. We show solidarity not because we're just sympathizing with people, but because we are going to be next. Every single one of us is going to be next. So we show solidarity because together is how we stop them. And number 5, and this is a really important one that we tell people, is organize. Organize. Go meet people where they are. If they're at home and scared, Go talk to them. Find out how they're feeling. Find some shared values and bring them out. Bring them out with us from wherever they are. So that's what we're doing in DC. And literally, they have thrown everything at us, and we're still out here. We are out here organizing every day. We are out here shouting Free DC in the streets. We are out here shouting Free DC right at Trump. And so I do want people to understand that this is all part of an authoritarian power grab, and it is aimed at normalizing a military presence in our communities and in the capital. DC is not just any city that they've chosen to occupy, it's the capital of our country. And the reason that they want to occupy the capital of our country and silence dissent here is because they want to prevent a transfer of power. They already tried it once on January 6th, and now they want to normalize the military presence and make it possible to do it again. And we are going to be the ones that stop them. We are going to be the ones that say, oh, no, no, no. This was a step too far. These attacks that they're doing right now, this is going to be the beginning of the end of this regime, because we're going to all come out together, and we're going to not only march together, not only turn out on October 18th, but we are going to use our power as jurors. We've seen that be so important. We've seen they couldn't indict that guy that threw that sandwich in DC. No. Because we have power as jurors. We have power as consumers. We have power as workers. Together, we have an incredible amount of collective power. And that means that we can stop this takeover of our communities. We can stop this corruption. We can call out the billionaires that are complicit in the extreme amounts of grift that we are seeing coming from these tyrants, and we can do this together. And so I do want to invite everyone here to, if you're near DC, we'd love to have you. If you're not and you register your own event, that would be amazing. I do want to invite folks in solidarity to refuse the microphone to any of these members of Congress or politicians who keep voting to take away DC's right in the middle of our occupation. And that includes, unfortunately, 29 Democrats yesterday. So it's not just Republicans. And this is a moment for us to say, like, no, we're giving the microphone to the people who show solidarity, to the people who stand with us, to the people who understand what is at stake here. And so if you want to know who that list is, you can go to freedcproject.org/occupation or freedcproject.org/news and see that full list. And we also have this opportunity, if you're from any of those 8 states that have sent your National Guard to carry weapons around Washington, D.C., this is an opportunity for you to use October 18th to say, hey, we want our guard back. We want our guard back home so we can be prepared for things that are coming at our community. Because again, they're not just coming for D.C., they're not just coming for us, they are coming for our democracy, and we are going to stop them. And it starts next on October 18th, and I'll see you there.
Hey, give us the website for Free DC Project one more time.
It's freedcproject.org.
All right, y'all. We expect that allies that aren't in DC will go and check out so we can figure out how to continue to be in solidarity. And I want to remind you that if you live in DC, there's going to be an event. We just heard there's going to be joy. There's going to be resistance. You're not going to want to miss it. Make sure you go to nokings.org to find out more information about that. I've seen a bunch of questions in the comments on the live streams about, like, well, what if I live in a red state, or what if I live in an open carry state? What if I live in a place where I'm not really sure, even if people align with me, how I can move them to show up? And I want to remind you to go to nokings.org/trainings. Go to nokings.org/trainings, because if you go there, there's a couple of things that I want to highlight. One, there's a protest safety, a know your rights, and a de-escalation training that's happening on October 6th. You can sign up to learn more there. There's also a No King safety and security training. There actually are a couple of those, one on the 25th of this month, one on October 9th. You can go there. If you want to learn more about, like, how to talk about this with people, there's a messaging, media, and digital engagement training that's happening October 14th, and so many more. So again, if you have questions about the how of this, I want you to go to nokings.org/trainings to get more information on that. I want to give you some unfortunate information, and then I'm really excited and hyped about our next speaker. Y'all, I know I told you that Bishop Barber was going to be joining us this evening, but our movement elder, the people's bishop, is still in transit. So we might not see him tonight. but there are still incredible speakers left on our docket for this evening, and we're going to keep driving through. Again, I want to remind you that if you have not found or signed up to host an event this evening, this is your opportunity. I want you to go to nokings.org, and I want you to either find an event, make sure that you're saying you're going to go, or host an event so that others can also join our movement. And I want to remind you that if you have not told your 3 people that you want them to come and get down with us, this is a great opportunity to do so. Y'all, up next is someone who you've seen on these calls, and I'm excited to bring her leadership into this space. Randi Weingarten of the American Federation of Teachers. Randi, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Of course. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Can see and hear you. You're good to go.
Fantastic. So thank you, Ash, and I'm glad to go after our incredible leader of Free DC, because I think um, look, I am in the middle of, uh, fighting all of them. I just left a launch of my book, which is called Why Fascists Fear Teachers. And the right wing really pretty much hates it because it basically calls out fascistic behavior and talks about teachers as the antidote. But the way in which they're fighting it is basically to try to censor me and try to say no TV shows, no radio shows, none of them. I should be shamed that I would actually put a book out like this in the aftermath of, you know what I'm saying. I'm saying this because we saw the same thing in DC. We're seeing the same thing in Memphis. We saw the same thing in with Jimmy Kimmel. We see the same thing with Chicago. They have now moved to a new strategy that basically understands they do not have the higher ground with respect to any policy. People don't like the big ugly bill. They don't want to lose their freedoms. So they are taking a tragedy and weaponizing it to chill speech, not for their conservative colleagues, but they don't want us to be on the streets. They don't want us voting. They don't want us to be on the street. They want to create fear and trepidation by using people like Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert or Hillary Clinton or me or Keya or any of us to basically go after us to say, see, no one should go on the street. This actually makes No Kings this year or No Kings this coming month even more important than any of the other rallies and demonstrations that we've done, because we have to send the message that just like cowardice is courageous, cowardice is contagious, courage is courageous. And ultimately, if we match or exceed what we had on the street in June, then what happens is we are sending a very powerful message that they are simply a paper tiger, that their bluster is not real. And if we don't, what happens is they then do more and more and more. Remember, after the June No Kings, even with the terrible tragedy that happened to Melissa Hortman and others, what happened was there were so many people on the street, it basically pushed them back for a few weeks. We have to do that again and more, because at the end of the day, it's not the politicians that will save us. There's no playbook in the United States. There's an authoritarian playbook, but there's no playbook in the United States that we can go back to, maybe with the exception of Jim Crow, to actually fight what they're doing, because they are trying to suppress speech. They're trying to censor us. They're trying to denigrate us. They're trying to dehumanize us. And when I say us, I'm talking about every human being in America that believes that we have a right to live. We have a right to have decent health care. We have a right to have decent retirement security. We have a right to have good schools. We actually have a right to both. We have a right to reproductive freedom. None of these things should have been at issue now, but they're all at issue now because the people in the White House have decided that they only are there for the favored few and they are going to repress the rest of us. So this No Kings becomes more important than any other rally, any other demonstration any of us have done, including all the ones I have done fighting for education funding. It is something that will show a coalition of all of us together, standing together, speaking together with one voice, because that almost singularly will help send a message not only to Donald Trump, but to everybody in our communities that are scared that they cannot stop us from actually exercising the rights under our Constitution. So I wanted to be here tonight. I rushed from another event I was at. I wanted to be here tonight, not only to say that this book I wrote is about the freedom and lifting up teachers and fighting fascism at all its facets, but also we can do something real and meaningful if we do it together on October 18th. We are in, my union is in, we will do everything we can. And thank you. Solidarity, unity. I'll see you in the streets on October 18th.
We love you, Randi. Thank you for being here. Shout out to the book launch. We're sending you a lot of love and solidarity. Thank you for holding it down for the House of Labor tonight. We see you and we appreciate you. Y'all, we're going to swiftly move to our next incredible leader. Y'all, I'm excited to invite Chase Strangino of the ACLU to come and speak to us. Y'all know Chase because he stood up in the fight in the Supreme Court for trans rights and has a lot to teach us about the different terrains of our fight. Chase, I'm going to toss it to you now.
Thank you, Ash. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight, for sharing space with all of us, for committing to resistance and dissent. I'm going to keep it real. Today is just one of those days where I sat on the messy brink of wanting to give up. Maybe some of you can relate to this. And it was not that I looked at the world and the compounding horrors and thought we can't do this. It wasn't that, because in my mind, I know that we can do this and we will do this. Instead, I felt that heaviness in my body that made me feel far away from myself, far away from my fire. And I know a lot of trans people are feeling this. I know a lot of people are feeling this. And I knew that my mind was not going to pull me out of this place. I needed my heart to, and I needed my people, and I needed our history. And so I surround my bed with history for days like today. With Flawless Sabrina, who was arrested dozens of times in the 1950s and 1960s when cities and counties made cross-dressing a crime. Flawless would always say, "You are the person you've been waiting for." And her antidote for grief and pain was love and mentorship. And she never gave up on us. I surround my bed with Lorena Borjas, who organized trans Latina women in Jackson Heights, Queens during the height of mass deportations under President Obama. Lorena would gather people every Friday night to provide food, Metro cards, and dancing. And Lorena opened her home and her heart to everyone around her, not just with material needs, but with celebration. And behind my bed right here with Polly Murray, who built the architecture of our civil rights movements, but whose name is never uttered as frequently as Justices Ginsburg or Marshall, though they both relied on Polly's work. Polly's poem Prophecy is next to my bed and tattooed on my back, and the poem ends, "I have been cast aside, but I sparkle in the darkness. I have been slain, but live on in the rivers of history. I seek no conquest, no wealth, no power, no revenge. I seek only discovery of the illimitable heights and depths of my own being." Each of these trans icons built around and through sweeping architectures of state violence. And they and many others are my guide right now as we face renewed efforts to cast us as a threat to be managed. So we're not starting from scratch. We never are. And in the face of eliminationist impulses, we move forward by insisting on solidarity. Trans people are facing these threats as an instrument, not an end. Authoritarians want to control our bodies and our imaginations, and trans people are an easy target. both because authoritarians often rightly believe we'll be abandoned by our allies, and also because we are uniquely destabilizing to simplicity. So that means you need us and we need you. We cannot survive this without you, but I would contend that none of us can survive this if we leave anyone to fight alone. And what's more, we're not just fighting against something, we're fighting for something, for a future that's more expansive in what we give and demand for each other. And everyone knows that all beautiful futures need queer and trans people. So let us insist on being in it together. So open your homes, give up your comfort, and show up tonight, tomorrow, and especially on October 18th. No one gets left to fight alone. So let's do this. I'll see you out there. Thank you all for having me here.
Chase, we love you. Thank you for the ways that your bravery and courage has like invited us all to be our full selves. Thank you for calling the roll. Our ancestors and elders have built a legacy that is our inheritance. So we have what we need in our bones, y'all. Chase just reminded us of that. Y'all show some love in the comments for our comrade Chase. We appreciate you, fam. We appreciate you. All right, y'all. I have some updates. So, first of all, I want to remind you that you can go to nokings.org right now and you can find an event near you or you can host an event. Again, I want you to go there. I want you to find the event. I want you to RSVP for the event. And then I want you to tell all your buddies that you're coming. I want to let you know that we are getting updated numbers. I am going to shout them out as soon as I find them in our very lengthy chat where we've also been shouting out to each other. So, Nora, I'm going to ask you to drop those numbers for me one more time. Y'all, it's going to be big. It's going to be audacious. And that's going to be an invitation for us to practice solidarity because it's not just a values, it's the situation. It is a doing thing. We are either doing solidarity or we're not. We are going to invite you to practice it, practice what we preach around it. I also saw some questions about how do you get access to the Know Your Rights cards. So if you go to nokings.org, we're going to put it there. This call tonight was to give you a sneak peek that it was coming. So make sure that you go to the website and we will get you those cards so that you can get them shipped into to where you are. We love and appreciate you and want to make sure you have what you need. Now, to close us out, to round this thing on out, I'm so glad to announce that y'all already like spoiler happened in the chat already. So I know that y'all know this, but for folks that didn't see the spoiler, if you joined us late, I'm so glad to announce that we are joined by actor, director, and member of the pro-democracy artist and activist collective, We Stand United. Shout out to the We Stand United fam. Y'all give some love to Mark Ruffalo. Mark, brother, we are so glad that you could make it tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'll toss it to you. Uh-oh, Mark, you're on mute, bud.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you, Ash. Thank you so much. And thank you, Indivisible, for having me. I'm so honored to be here. I'm so moved and I'm so humbled. Chase, that little speech was so beautiful. And it reminds me of, our Native brothers and sisters, our, Grasa, our LGBT community, our marginalized people have always been fighting for themselves. And they'll tell you, we're still here. We survived the worst of it. And we're better for it. And we're stronger for it. Chase just gave us a beautiful history of our trans leaders who probably are the most marginalized people and throughout history have led us in the deepest kinds of ways. I guess what I'm saying is that nothing worth a damn in life is easy. And with every difficulty, we're given the opportunity to transcend our own limitations, transcend our comfort, transcend how we even think about ourselves, how we deal with problems in the world. And this is one of those moments. Stephen Colbert, whose show was canceled, said at the Emmys this weekend, sometimes you only truly know how much you love something when you get a sense that you may be losing it. I've never loved my country more desperately. I think it's a shocking moment for us. We wake up every day with some new shocking news that is makes us question: are we actually? Is this our reality? Is this America? Is this possible? But what we're reminded of every day is it is, and it's a fragile democracy. As enduring as we wanted to believe it was, we're finding out that it's much more fragile and needs much more attention and needs much more of our participation than we'd ever thought it would or did. So that's the opportunity of this moment. And with every action, there is an equal reaction. So No King's Day, the last No King's protest, the Hands Off protest, the coming October 19th protest, these are all a sort of response, a collective response to what we love, what we care about, what we fear, and the deep push against our core values as a country, our core values as a democracy, and the core values of our Constitution. So I was at those protests, and as badly as it was feeling, as our Constitution was being under attack, as our beautiful migrants were being taken off the streets, as habeas corpus or our due process rights were being stripped away from us, literally on television in front of us every moment, or what we're seeing happening in Gaza. These things are shocking to us, but they're also bringing us forward together in a way that needs to happen right now for a complete reimagining of our democracy. There is a gift in every difficult thing that we have to deal with, and the gift of this time is our ability to reimagine and restructure what this democracy is. And the only way that we can do that is together, brothers and sisters, family, loves. We have to do it together. So what we saw and what we felt on those days when we came out was possibility. We saw our power. We saw this administration shrink in weakness. We saw his military parade be meaningless. We saw Trump's emperor with no clothes, this rambling, thoughtless, cruel child man, exposed for what he is. And we saw his administration exposed for what they are. And what they do is they prey on our decency. They're preying on our decency. They're preying on our ability to speak the truth to power. That's what this whole anti-fascist move is. Notice they don't call out an organization. They call it anti-fascism, okay? Because they don't want you fighting against fascism. But that's what we're doing here. Now, we saw Jimmy Kimmel's show was canceled. We don't know what the reasons are, really. It's very cloudy and murky. I don't understand what's happening right now. My industry doesn't understand what's happening right now. But what they do understand is our freedom of speech is being attacked. I heard Mark Maron today talk about it. He said, you guys were so afraid of being canceled. You went out and you screamed and you yelled about being canceled. But the cancellation was coming from people who didn't like what you had to say. It was coming from people who didn't agree with what you were saying and were speaking out about it. This cancellation is the United States government coming and taking your voice away from you. It is the United States government that is now suppressing the freedom of speech. It is the United States government, not your neighbors, not someone on social media. It is the government doing it now. And that's where we all have to come together. Because authoritarian regimes, fascist regimes have to degrade our freedoms more and more over time until we're living the smallest, the most frightened, the most secretive lives. Think of yourselves living under the Taliban, because that's where we're headed. So, I know it's scary. And I know that there's a lot of doubt. But now is the time for us to find our heroism. We love stories about heroes. As Americans, we keep this idea, the myth of the American hero, but when do we get a chance to actually engage in it? When do we actually get to live it instead of watching it told to us on television? Now is that time. And to be a hero is to walk into the darkness. To be a hero is to not know what's coming. To be a hero is to move because you know there's something that's worth fighting for on the other side, and you don't know what the outcome is. If we knew what the outcome is, this life would be meaningless to us. So we have to not know what the outcome is. But I promise you this, that outcome in that darkness is so much better than the one of staying hidden and quiet and alone, because you will only become more hidden, quiet, and alone. I've walked on the streets of places where there was authoritarian regimes. Budapest, I shot a movie there. Or the Hungarian version of this, Viktor Orban, who Trump is using as a model, has made those people so afraid that they won't turn their TVs on at night. You walk down the streets, it's silent. You won't hear people laughing as they come upon you in the nighttime. They're silent because they're afraid of each other. That's not the America that any of us want to be living in. And I'm telling you, I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what your beliefs are. I don't care. I don't care if you and I would never meet on any plane whatsoever. I will tell you this, you enjoy your freedoms just as much as I do. And your freedoms are being destroyed. Everything that you feared from Biden, from Obama, from anybody, all of those things are now happening. They're happening. So join us. This is about being American. It's not about a party. It's not about an ideology. It's about the ideology of being American. We're the home of the brave and the land of the free. But if we want to be free, then we got to be brave. And now is that time. So come out October 19th. Join us. Let's make this meaningful. Every time we've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. This one's going to be 3 times, 4 times, 5 times as big as the last one, because they're invading our rights that much more. And now is the time we come together. And I'm reaching out to all of my brothers and sisters in the entertainment industry to join us. Don't let them pick us off. Don't let us stand out there by ourselves. Join us. Be there. Be there this time. I want to see everybody on MSNBC and CNN. Everybody. I want to hear everybody speaking, because you can do it. You can change this. And they're coming after celebrities because they know we are the last ones to actually be able to have our freedom to speak. So use your platform wisely. Use it generously for this movement. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I love you. I love this country. I believe in us. I believe in this movement. And I know we will prevail, but we have to show up. Thank you.
Y'all show some love to our brother. He could have been doing a million other things. This man could be doing a million other things for a million other causes, and he is here with you tonight to invite you into being courageous. What a blessing it is, Mark. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all, I want to update some numbers, and even though like Mark just gave the benediction for this call, there's a little bit more to say. I want to tell you that earlier in the call, we were at 108,000 signups. across all of the No Kings events and calls and trainings. At last check, I got a number saying that we were at 110. We went from 108 to 110 just on this call, friends, for the next No Kings events. Y'all, October 18th is going to be one for the records. And even if it was just to prove we can, that would be worthy. Even if it was just to prove we can, because I already told you at the top of the call, all power belongs to all of the people, right? That's what makes this country great. But what's going to be even better is we're going to stop evil in its tracks. And because we were brave and we stopped evil in its tracks through coming together and just practicing democracy together, loving up on each other, keeping each other safe, it's going to make impossible things possible. It gives us an opportunity to once and for all govern in a way that is for all. I want to be a part of that history. I've seen a lot of people asking questions in my DMs and across Blue Sky. Shout out to all of y'all. There's a whole bunch of y'all on Blue Sky. I didn't know Blue Sky was popping like this until we started doing these No Kings calls. But y'all have won me over. For folks that are on the live streams, I've seen your comments about your fear. And I've heard so many of these incredible speakers speak to it. I want to just give a personal anecdote to close us out. Y'all know that once upon a time in a land not so far away, I was the first Black woman co-executive director of the Highlander Research and Education Center in Tennessee. Shout out to the Dirty Southerners. I see you. And I got announced as the first Black woman to serve in that position in the 85th year, 84th, 85th year of that organization, which was 2 weeks after the wannabe king got elected the first time. That was 2016. By 2019, white supremacists had burned down my office, our administrative offices. That was in 2019, right? Maybe a week, 2 weeks before a sparkler bomb was used to blow up my office, just hours after I'd left it. I was sitting in a circle of rocking chairs in the workshop center at Highlander, and a movement elder, Candy Carawan, a folk singer who many of y'all might know, was telling a story about We Shall Overcome, about the song. A song that, quite frankly, I have a very complicated relationship with. And she said that once upon a time in a land further away, there was a group of young Black people from the Black Belt South, probably someplace like Alabama or Mississippi, and like white working class folks. And they were meeting to try to figure out how to come together across their differences in a time that felt as evil as this, when Black and white people couldn't be in the same place legally, including where they were in Tennessee at Highlander. All of a sudden, the building was surrounded by lights shining in the windows. They didn't know if it was the Ku Klux Klan or the police or maybe both. So they hit the floor, right? They hit the floor because if anybody shot, it was going to be harder to hit somebody if they were standing or sitting than if they were laying down on the floor. And all of a sudden, in the silence, in the fear that you could have cut with a knife in that room, a 14-year-old Black girl started singing, "We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday." And what I'd ask you is, do you think she wasn't scared? Of course she was. But look at the impossible things that these people of goodwill made possible, that we can now, across our differences, gather. And even despite the attacks from this evil administration and the minions that follow them, we can still come together across our differences and sing and prove that through the collective practice of solidarity, we can make impossible things possible. I believe in it because you exist. So you've heard from our incredible speakers, and now it's your turn to take a courageous step. I need you right now to go to nokings.org. I need you to click on Find an Event. I need you to look for one nearby on the beautiful map that we have of our country and the people that are standing up in solidarity, rising up in solidarity to support one another. If there isn't one there already, I want you to sign up to host. It's you, comrade. It's you. I want you to sign up to host. It's time for all of us to show up. And just like Joel said, we're here to help. You've got a team of people that are ensuring your success. We've got trainings, we've got toolkits, we've got office hours and some. Show up and be with us in this. I want to close by highlighting some of the points that our speakers made about staying safe and brave in this moment. Again, I want to remind you what Grace has said. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means choosing to act in love even when fear is present. When the trolls are talking wild stuff out their neck in the middle of our Zoom call, we speak love. We speak courage. We choose to act in solidarity despite our differences. We organize them. We go get the know your rights and protest safety training so that we can make sure that we keep ourselves safe. We even, as we are event hosts, make sure that we have our safety leads join those host focused safety and de-escalation training so they got what they need. Now is the time for all of us, every single one of us, to take the thought about the faithful next steps that we can take to block and build that are right for us, to protect ourselves and the most vulnerable around us. We want everybody to be able to attend, y'all, regardless of their ability to take risks, regardless of their ideological difference, regardless of the identities. This is an opportunity for us to make this sacred work as accessible as possible and step into our bravery by being loud, by being visible, by practicing love and solidarity and democracy together. On October 18th, more than 5 million of us will do so. I am naming it and claiming it. Because of you, we will be bigger than 5 million this time. And I hope each and every one of you will be part of that number. As we wrap up tonight, I want to again say thank you and just send so much love, so much protection, so much solidarity to each and every one of our speakers. And most of all, I want to thank each and every one of you, those of you who are leading the way in your communities, who are joining together in solidarity and taking action on October 18th and beyond it. The hope that we have in this moment is grounded. It is not naive optimism. It is grounded in the fact that you all keep showing up. Thank you. Have a great night.